So Freddie Joachim is one of my favorite producers in the world. You should check out his music. And I wrote this piece whilst listening to him. So it's not about him, but I named it after him because he was the only thing on my playlist playing. So for all purposes of the piece and the filming, the piece could be called 97. It's a story about where I grew up and things that happened whilst growing up. Hope you enjoy the journey. I tasted my first punch in the summer of 97. I never knew heat could make a fist. Reality made the other. I asked my mother if Nigeria was like London, and she said yes. Sliding doors told me different. It was the first time I tasted shock. Both left a bitter taste telling me that I was far away from home, or maybe I was having trouble accepting that this was home, home. You wore no welcome banners, but kerosene lanterns led the way. Kerosene. Success in liquid form, the lubricant of ambition, the midnight oil and my bane. I spent years wishing fire would eat you quickly so I didn't have to stay up learning times tables. You multiplied my desire for adventure, kerosene. You taught me that darkness is a friend and only those who seek enlightenment can find it attractive. Your why I started wearing black and became comfortable in my skin. I liked looking like the beginning. Every day was a new one. From 50p bus journeys to walking up potholed hills to buy bread and akara. No more Freddos, just Vicks and Tom Tom. Two names that could banish runny noses with menthol. Two names that said medicine can be cheap and still have purpose. Treat your homes like you live in them, even if your minds have mansions in the cosmos. Sometimes they come down here for a reason to stay up. I stayed up, scared of the sound of cockroaches and crickets, learned how to handle snakes, thought lizards were talking to me with their bobbing heads as if to say, keep your head up, no matter how low you get. 97. You gift-wrapped adolescence in a British Airways flight and gave it to me when I was still learning how to keep my tongue straight when saying a name that twisted others. Much like that flight, I found that adolescence was a one-way trip. It was fast and became a permanent lump in my throat. Gravity finally had something to pull on, thus making my words sound heavy, and my actions weigh even heavier on my conscience on the world below it. My conscience learned to stay cool under a sun that could make men sweat during a bucket bath. Iron buckets carrying more fear than water, sometimes more pain than both, and 10-year-old arms bearing the sum of all. That was wrong about boarding school. It didn't build character, it built characters for me to talk to and write about. It built roadmaps out of my reality into a world where imagination called itself truth. I was living a lie, a comfortable lie. Much unlike the mattresses that held our mortality, our desires for freedom and leftovers, we didn't dream in those beds, we schemed about breaking out, breaking in, breaking through, and breaking down. We would stare at our suitcases through the storage room windows, knowing that the next time we opened them was to smell the preserved scent of home. The next time we opened them was to pack up what didn't get stolen and escape in the back of rescue cars that became prison vehicles at the next start of term. No more kerosene, just moonshine, and the smile of a girl you noticed on the other side of campus. The other side of campus you and your friends would joke about. It remained a joke, because you decided that making it home alive to see if Gohan beat Cell was more important. Boarding school showed me the apocalypse, where young souls walked across makeshift football fields littered with glass, tears, fears, textbooks and egos, where we searched for home in anteater sandholes. 97 showed me a woman's work and made me scared to make one mine. They are too much to handle because men's hands don't know how to be strong and delicate, firm and relaxed. We were told that our voices could inspire thousands and still not be enough to bring moral to our inner child. I was given a name that said wealth didn't matter, and yet my siblings' names and their faces said we needed it. Our family portraits resembled the cracks in our walls. There were none. Our gates groaned when my voice broke, and I became less willing to wake up, less willing to cause impact with arms that were sentenced to do such. For me, the most annoying thing about being a poet is that you will never really write off your pain, but you will get better at writing about it. It's like cutting your finger by accident, but your body decides to bleed from everywhere else. You get applause for doing it so well, for living to tell the story. When I was 11, I saw a man being burnt alive for stealing yam. He burnt in silence with a tie around his neck. Where people saw a thief, I saw a man disciplined in pain. It has taken a lot more deaths for me to know that to learn the truth about a man, he must die first. So this is me being dead honest. 97. You brought me to a place I was supposed to call home. And almost 20 years later, I realized it wasn't. It was a launch pad. It was my fault for assuming that my father's house would be big enough to hold my world. Thank you.